So,
Come on, buddy.
I'm kind of a how is the sausage made kind of guy, so I have a question here for Mr. Coordinator. I'm just curious because I'm not as familiar with that line of work. Sort of where in the movie pipeline do they really get you involved with it? Like, do they have like the script of we have this idea of scenes and they come to you like, how do we make this work?
Well, really, a lot of it's already done in storyboard. They have a general idea of what they want the scene to look like, how how someone is meant to fall, how they need to look in the shot. And then it's our job to make sure that we can make it look like that without killing the stunt actor. So, that's really bad PR for films.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, one of the hardest things that they do that no one really thinks about is keeping not just the safety, but there's cameramen everywhere. And when you're flailing about, it's really hard not to kind of run into one another. So, like, that little dance is a big deal too.
Yeah, I mean, and there's all kind of tricks that we use. I mean, when we're doing straight shots and there's no interruptions, no edits, we can run a Texas switch between the actual actor and the stunt actor, and it's seamless because he's out of the camera shot for like half a second, and the stunt actor comes in. You see a lot of times in comic book series that, again, I'm trying not to mention,
right? Yeah,
but we use names, use that technique quite a lot.
With a blind lawyer, perhaps.
Shut up! She's a girl. Oh God, he's gonna get us in trouble.
They're gonna kick us out of the club.
Yeah, no. I'd be bad PR if they kicked me out.
That's right.
Kicking out cripples is a bad idea.
Hire.
So my question is, because there's a lot of people that have that love-hate relationship with some of the movies for this thing or that thing, but what I've always appreciated is the idea of all of this coming to life. So I just really actually want to say thank you guys for putting out your time, your energy, the risk that's involved to actually just bring us 2.5 hours of enjoyment. So appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel special.
Right? I appreciate that.
The second thing is, so when going to the first live action movie, the Freeway scene was nuts, just seeing all of that unfold, and then you got Optimus flipping and changing on there's a bridge and everything like that. How was that to actually drive? Because it looks manic and crazy like mud as you see it, like you're talking about the cameras everywhere.
Right. So that was the fun thing I'm talking about, right? Is when they do scenes like that in general, you've got that like disappearing truck that they get that I get to drive. Well, sometimes drive. It's not always me. That just gets to barrel through crap and just knock things apart, and stuff's flying and blowing up, and it's pure chaos and insanity, which is right where I thrive. I mean, I love that,
yes,
chaos. I love it, and that's the most fun to me. He's all like, "Oh, I got to control the situation and make it safe." I'm just out there having a blast.
You know what? You're alive, aren't you? All right, shut up.
Like, it's just all about I like chaos when it's like controlled chaos, when I'm in the middle of it and I can kind of see all the angles. That's fun. When life's just kicking me in the teeth, that's not as fun.
So I was wondering how it is, one was, how does it feel to drive one of those famous cars? The other was, how does it feel to work in scenes with a bunch of explosions or people on fire and stuff like that?
It feels awesome to drive the cars, honestly. It's, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of car that you can just beat the crap out of, and it doesn't cost you a penny. Not only that, but they're paying you to do it, is amazing. Probably one of the most fun parts of the job. As far as people on fire, that's a whole specialized other thing. I don't deal with that. He deals with that a lot more, but
sometimes that happens by accident.
It does, and that's actually kind of interestingly fun when that does, because if you're doing it right and you're in the moment, you don't really, as the stunt actor, always notice that you're on fire. And so they go, "Oh, let's put that out."
What really gets interesting is when you have the pyrotechnics going off and the actual actor doesn't realize he's on fire.
Right.
That's
happens
fun too.
Yeah.
But
that usually gets kept in because that looks natural. Because it's natural. Yeah. They go, "That looked."
That's character
totally
acting,
normal.
I think is what they call that.
Yeah.
So in order to make these vehicles, you know, during these scenes, do what you want to do, what are some of the modifications that you have to do that we wouldn't necessarily think of? Like you talk about being able to drive that truck, which is just like this fist battering ram or something.
Right, basically, yeah. You've got to
Like, is
armor
it
the
an
crap
armored
out of them.
truck? Like, what is that thing? Like, maybe you could talk more to that for us.
Yeah. So you definitely have to armor the crap out of everything. But you also have to strip it down for not just weight and things like that, because if you're going to armor it, it can't be too heavy. But the other sort of bigger issue is they're not going to put fully equipped vehicles out there that, like I said, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're getting a frame and the bare minimum of what it needs to actually run, and then enough sort of armoring so that it doesn't just crumple every time. And of course, you've got like
the CG
copies
artists
upon
that are-
copies upon copies of every vehicle, because they are going to just fall apart. Like almost every jump, you've got at least 2 or 3 that you have to cycle through, because nothing hits perfectly flat and then keeps going. You know what I mean?
Not unless it's CG.
Exactly. So, and then that's actually another interesting part, is that there's like, the more CG it uses, of course, the less, guys like me are working, so you don't want too much of it to be that. But it is a lot easier to make it look seamless if it's not an actual vehicle trying to bottom out. But mostly it's a lot of that. It's like the framing getting lighter, but also somehow sturdier and armored, And there's like a whole department. It's usually like one guy who oversees most of the cars, but it's mostly like, it's a dude named Mike that I work with most often. It like has a whole team of people who that's all they do. They just tear them down and rebuild vehicles and make them look just as normal, but also, they have to be extra durable, but also insanely light.
I mean, the balance in themselves, because they've got to have the camera rigs on different parts of the car, which kind of make it.
Right, yeah, exactly. So you have like, depending on the shot, sometimes there's like internal rigging where it's like shooting over the shoulder, because even though this is all pretty, they don't want to see all that. They want to see,
If we've done our job, you have no idea
you'll
who we
never
are.
know. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, if I'm doing my job right, like, you don't know that I was the guy in that car. Because, I like to leave that mystery of, does that actor drive for himself? No, they usually don't. But
Plus, you got warrants, so we gotta.
Yeah, that's right. Can't be showing up all over the place.
To follow up with what a couple of other people were talking about, how was it? What was it like doing the stunt stuff for the third movie?
Like specifically just in
The highway chasing with.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well, I guess, it's one of those things where we can't really deep dive. Like I said, they're all fun. The highway, like those kind of like long shots with like chaos going off, those are really where I like my sweet spot. I really enjoy.
Because you don't have to worry about wrecking anything.
Exactly, because it's not. I like the precision driving stuff is fun, but and although I will say the precision driving stuff, if you're going to get into it, that's what you want to get into, because that's where you get the like the back end royalties. Like stunt drivers don't get any of that.
Rub it in.
Precision drivers do. The difference being that stunt drivers are like, I risk my life and almost die every stunt. Whereas the precision drivers are like, oh, look at me, I'm fancy. No, it's like the close-ups, like the 180s and like sliding into a parking space, like all those kind of shots, those are precision drivers. Which is a completely different job. I've done both, but that's where you get the back end stuff, but it's not nearly as
That's
fun,
why
in
he
my
likes
opinion.
doing
I
them.
I like to see the like just pure destruction in my trail.
I mean,
Because like I said, how often do you get to like destroy like a $250,000 car and not catch a charge, but they give you money at the end? Like it's a beautiful thing.
Can be.